Hi everyone, today I'm going to share with you my experience on this new liquid arrow coming from ASUS known as the Prime LC360 ARGB LCD. I'd like to thank ASUS Singapore to have provided this unit for me to share with everyone. When you do the unbox, these are the items that's packed inside the box. You'll be provided with an instruction manual, the backplate for Intel. By the way, it supports Intel 11.5X, 1200, 1700 and the latest 1851 socket. The AMD standoff, 4 retention spring and 4 retention bolt, and these are used on both platforms, which is either the Intel or the AMD platform. The cable, which is meant for you to control the LCD on the block, which one end, this is the type C, or should I say USB type C, where you connect this to the block. And on the other end, this is a 9-pin connector where you connect this to your motherboard version 2.0 USB header. A bag of screws, total of 12. These are meant for you to mount the radiator to your case. And not to forget the main unit. The first thing which impressed me is the cable management of this unit. It's very straightforward and simple. You only need to feeder with 4 cables. On the pump side, you will need to take care of the USB connector, the pump connector. Speaking about the pump connector, this is a 4-pin PWM pump connector whereby it allows you to control the RPM of your pump. And the other 2 cables, which is the radiator fans. And if you have not noticed, right, both sides, or should I say either side of the fans, there are no cables, exposing only 2 cables at this end. And you will need to take care of the 3-pin 5V ARGB connector, whereby it controls the ARGB effect on your fans, and a 4-pin PWM fan connector which will spin and to power up your fans. Starting off with the radiator. Now the construction of the radiator is pretty straightforward and simple, whereby at both ends, right, you have this subtle logo which says ASUS Prime. Same goes to the other end. See? Very simple. And as for the measurement of this radiator, which is from here to here, is at 394 mm. From here to here is at 120 mm. And as for the thickness of this radiator, this is at 27 mm. If you were to put this together with the radiator fans, now the radiator fans is at 25 mm. So the total thickness together with the radiator is at 52 mm. And as for the fin stack of the fan, the radiator, is in fact 20 fins per inch. Moving along, it has a very nice sleeve tube, or should I say braided tube, and the length of this tube is at 400 mm. On one end, this is not swivelable. On the other end, this is swivelable. Coming to the pump, now it has a 2.3 inch screen, or should I say LCD, to display all your stats and such, which I will show you later. And at the other end, right, okay, let me just remove this. The cold plate is pre-paste. And by the way, this pump is of ASUS Tech Generation 8, or should I say ACE Tech Generation 8. Now coming to the measurements of the pump, from here to here and from here to here is at 66.8 mm. And the thickness from the cold plate all the way to the tip is at 62.3 mm. And this pump run at 3600 plus minus 300 RPM, and the drawing current is at 12 DC at 1.1 ampere. I have removed off the pre-installed fans off from the radiator, and what's holding this fan on it are with these long screws. In the event if you do remove these fans off the radiator, make sure you do not lose the washers that comes with this individual long screws. In fact, the washers is on all the long screws, so make sure you don't lose it. Now, as mentioned to you, these fans are daisy chained in one piece and is pre-installed. And just to show you the locking mechanism of the daisy chain, this is how it looks like, where you have one end with the pin sticking out, at the other end which is flat for the pin to touch the flat surface, and there's a clip from one end. Over at this end it doesn't have it, so when you want to interlock to another fan, make sure you align it properly as in this way, and it must be of one direction. You can't place it this way. If you place it this way, right, see, the contact does not touch. So make sure it's only one direction. I would suggest to clip it this way. Make sure you align, then you clip it. And this is how you clip it. And again, if you want to remove the daisy chain for some reason, maybe doing some cleaning or such, now you can make use of a round flat surface. In fact, a chopstick will do its job. And just to show you the mechanism, see, there's a square block. So just pry on the square block, having the fan flat on the surface, press it down lightly and to pull apart. See, you have to do it gently because you wouldn't want to break this clip. So when you apply pressure, right, make sure you don't apply too much. It's just a bit with control, and you just pull it. And when you have done this, right, at the bottom, don't just pull it this way, you might just break the clip at the bottom. Turn over here and to detach. Alright, it's pretty straightforward. Now, as for the design of the fan, this is very sturdy. Simple design. Okay, no pattern, no such. The only thing is the crest on the blade, where this is a chrome finish. The whole piece aluminium, nicely done. See, and this is of a 7-blader, and this is ARGB effect. And at each 4 corner of the fans, be it here or here, 1, 2, 3, 4, on the other side, all these are equipped with anti-vibration rubber grommets. Now, as mentioned to you that this is a 7-fan blader, the blades are pretty wide, so it will scoop tons of static pressure air to your radiator. And as for the specification, this is known as the Prime LC MF-12C ARGB fans, and it's drawing a current of 12 DC at a max amperage of 0.3 ampere. And as for the RPM, minimum it can go 800, maximum it can go 2500 RPM. The static pressure of these fans are at 5.48 mm H2O, and as for the CFM, it's at 77.22. For the Intel platform, these are needed: the backplate, the 4 retention spring, and the 4 retention bolt. First thing to prepare is the backplate. As you can see over here, the backplate you can push in and push out. The thread itself will go in and go out. If you push out all the way, this is to prepare for 1700 socket or 1851 socket. Else, if you push it in, right, it's meant for your 11.5X or 1200 socket. So right now I'm preparing the 1700 socket. I'll push it out. Next thing to do, flip your motherboard to the other side. As you can see, there are 4 holes over here. Align the 4 thread of your backplate to these holes. And if you have noticed, right, there are double-sided tape on this side. Remove the tape, or should I say the covering, so that you can tape this plate on the motherboard. And I would advise to do it this way. Okay, because there are bigger surface area over here, so we can tape this onto the plate. Else, if you do it this way, right, as I measured, right, the double-sided tape does tape over here, but it's offset. So it's better to do it this way to have better grip. Now, just align the thread to the hose. Now, once that's in, right, you can flip your motherboard over. See, it's quite simple. Just flip it over. Next, what you need to do is to use alcohol and some, towel or such, just to wipe the processor. And next, you can apply the block. As you can see, this is pre-paste, so you just remove this cover. Now I'm just going through the motion as I don't have the processor and I wouldn't want to ruin this thermal paste, the pre-paste. So what is needed, right, is to anchor all these holes over here to the thread and make sure that your hose is facing towards the RAM. Reason for this, right, take a look at the logo over here, ASUS. So this is the correct orientation. If you do it this way, right, it's the wrong orientation. Or this way. Okay, just make sure that the hose is facing towards the RAM and you will have the correct orientation. Anchor this 4 holes over here as mentioned. Okay, probably a fit over here to the thread. Starting off with aligning it, do not put your block down yet. Once you have all in, right, then push your block down, do a little bit of wiggle. And having this in place, right, make sure you hold on to the block. Assuming this is already done, as mentioned to you, I'm just going through the motion because later I'll be using this to apply on the AMD. So assuming that the block is already in place, okay, next thing you need to do is to make use of the retention spring. While you're holding this, right, then you apply. Okay, again, assuming this is already there, then you can just drop this retention spring to the 4 areas. Next, okay, assuming I'm holding on to the block itself, you drop the spring. And next will be the retention bolt. Just anchor it. You don't have to tighten it. Once this is done, right, still holding on to the block. Okay, this motion of my fingers, right, is holding the block, which is this. When you tighten the retention bolt, make sure you do it this way. Having 2 rounds at the top left, at the bottom right 2 rounds, and the top right 2 rounds, and this 2 rounds. Now, repeat this pattern till the block touches your IHS or the processor and you can't screw in anymore on the retention bolt. This will tell you that the cold plate is seated nicely on the processor. And make sure you do it alternately. Reason being, right, you want to have a even balance or equal pressure, pressure of the cold plate to your block, which is flat. For the AMD platform, you'll be using this standoff, and this standoff is meant for AM4 or AM5. And it happened that I'm preparing an AM5 platform. First thing you need to do, unscrew this, take out the original bracket, and retain the screws for later usage. Put it one side. Now for the standoffs, if you look at the standoff itself, right, there's a marking CPU with the arrow pointing this way. Same goes to this. Make sure you place it this way so that the arrow is pointing towards the processor and not this way. If you're going to place it this way, right, it's going to be incorrect. So an easier way to do it is the original screws, which is on the original bracket, make use of these screws, place it in. And to align the bottom, okay, let me just zoom in. Align this 2 bottom to here. Once it's aligned, okay, press on it, hold on it, use your screwdriver to tighten it. Now you don't have to tighten it at first, just screw it until when the screw touches the bottom. You can feel it. Alright, once you've done this, push this bracket slightly up, then tighten. Hand tight will do. You don't have to do it too hard. Followed by this, which is the same. Now again, having the arrow, okay, pointing towards the processor. Right, let me just zoom out. Now next is to prepare mounting your block. But before you do so, make sure you clean the processor with some alcohol. Make sure it's clean. Turn over to dry the surface. Now, some of you have mentioned that, you know, what kind of material I'm using. Shouldn't I be using the coffee filter instead of this? Now, this is no ordinary tissue. Okay, it doesn't have hair. So that's why I'm using this. Now, back to where I was. Once you've done this, right, next thing is to prepare your pump block. Now again, the tilt is facing towards the rams. Align the 4 holes of the block to this. So I'll start off with aligning it. Once all is in line, right, I'll just press the whole thing in. Do a bit of wiggle, still holding on to the block. Place the retention spring. Once this is done, next thing to do is to place your retention bolt. Okay, you don't have to screw in all the way, it's just to anchor it. Once this is all in place, you can make use of your screwdriver as mentioned to you. Do it alternately. So I 2 rounds, 2 rounds, 2 rounds, and followed by this, which is 2 rounds. So repeat this until you feel that you can't screw in the bolt anymore. And by doing this, right, you're actually having a balanced pressure to your processor. That will yield good results. Okay, this is done. Just make sure that it's secured. Once this is complete, first thing to do, deal with the pump connector. Make sure you connect this to the AIO pump or the water pump connector, which I know is gonna be here. If you do not know where it is, right, for the headers, right, read the instruction manual of your motherboard. It will tell you. Just make sure that the pump connector is to the pump header. As mentioned to you, this is drawing 1.1 ampere. So you will need to have more than sufficient ampere to push and to make your pump work properly. Once this is done, right, next thing to take care of is the radiator fans, the 4-pin PWM fan connector, and the ARGB connector. So for the fan 4-pin PWM, make sure you connect to the CPU fan and not CPU out. I repeat it again, it's CPU fan. Okay, because that's the master controller. This is done. And the final step will be the 3-pin ARGB connector. Now, when you have mounted your liquid AIO and booted to Windows, on your LCD panel, which you see on my right, for the very first time, it will not show any readings. You will need to download the drivers. Just head down to ASUS, look for this model, which is the Prime LC360 ARGB LCD. Then go to the support page, click on drivers and utility, then select the OS. This will be the driver that you will need to download and to install. Once you install this, right, you will get an icon this way. Double click on it and you will launch. And once you see the display is showing readings, right, there will be an icon on your taskbar on your lower right. Now all these readings here, right, are fixed. You can't do any customization. It will show you the usage, the CPU temperature, and the CPU frequency. Or if you fancy to show the GPU temp, right, you can go to the taskbar, do a right click, okay, under this icon here, which says Prime LC ARGB LCD, okay, do a right click, you can select GPU, and it will show you the GPU stats, the usage of it, and the frequency. Now, besides this, you can change 3 different type of theme. This is one. Now go to the icon again, do a right click, select switch theme. See, this is the second theme. As I mentioned to you, the stats are fixed. You can't change this. Or you can change to the third theme. This is the third theme. Before I conduct the noise test, something I'd like to talk about, in fact, are the ARGB effects on the blade. I'm not showing you how to configure this, but you can make use of your motherboard utility to do so. Now, for the noise test itself, I will be testing with the system on idle, just to show you how loud the pump is. By the way, the pump is at max speed. And once that's done, right, I will place my microphone away from the pump just to read the readings from the fan and the pump when it's at load. Now starting off with the idle load, or should I say idle period, I'll place this microphone near the pump, and this is how it sounds like. Now I will place the microphone away from the pump so that it will take the reading from the fans and the pump. And right now I'm just going to ramp up the Cinebench so that you can hear the fans ramping up. Here goes. And this is how it sounds like. Now, I'm just going to conduct the thermal test on this machine itself, and my room temperature is at 30.8 degrees Celsius. Before I explain to you how I conduct the test and to show you the results, something which I want to clarify, as some of you have sent message to me and to email me saying that, Cleo, during your benchmark, can you do it by default on the processor? Well, based on the fact that I can do that, but to me, I will not be able to show you the actual results based on the fact that I'm in a hot and humid country and having a room temperature of 30 to 31 degrees Celsius. And surrounding my atmosphere, right, is with warm air. So whatever that pulls either into the case or even on open benchmark through the radiator, right, it's not cool air, it's hot air. I can conduct this benchmark with a aircon environment, but that doesn't show how we operate in tropical areas. So with this said, right, that's the reason why I've set the limit, as in like the PBO2, to all this configuration, which again I have pulled out during all my benchmark, right, with the Ryzen Master to show you the settings that I've done, like the PVT, you see 192, TDC, which is 152, and EDC with 170 ampere. Now, the rest, like curve optimizer -18 and B core offset, right, is -0.05 volt. You can't see over here, but it does show you that this test is consistent based on the fact that there are readings on the PPT, EDC, and TDC. I can't possibly, just configure it on the spot, right? I can't do that. So based on the fact that these are the true readings, and in the test, I'll be making use of the Cinebench R23 together with FurMark, and there's a reason why for that. As you can see, I'm not using any discrete graphic card. So with the help of FurMark, right, you will push the processor even harder, as in like stress it. So that's why these readings are based on the processor itself, how much stress it can take. Now, having said this, right, take a look at the system spec over here. You can pause this and have a look. These are the things that I've been using to conduct the thermal test on this unit. And on my RAMs, right, I've set it to expo profile. Now, on the actual test, how I do it, when I mount the unit on the system, okay, I let it sit for a while, then I run, as mentioned, the Cinebench and the FurMark on 30 minutes stress test, followed by 5 minutes of idle time, then followed by 10 minutes of throttle test. And the 10 minutes throttle test, I will record it down. This is considered one set. The first set is for the liquid AIO cold plate, right, to cure the thermal paste together, or should I say bond together with the processor IHS. This is one set. Then I'll conduct the second and third test, or should I say second and third set of tests. And each test, right, or should I say each set, the last 10 minutes, I will record down the last 10 minutes. So having the 3 set done, I will pick up the 3 recordings and I'll pick the average. And what you see over here, right, is in fact the average. With this say, I'll let it run. So this is how it works. Okay, you look at the timestamp. Now I'm just going to pull to the last 3 minutes and to show you somewhere around here. Okay, last 3 minutes. So as I run, right, take a look at the temperature itself. It's hovering around 82 to 83 degrees Celsius. And the average clock speed, yes, it can sustain at 5 gigahertz. But when you look at the individual core, right, these cores here are pulling 5.2, 5.175 gigahertz. And looking at the graph over here, right, it's consistent, see? And there are a bit of jaggers, which is pulling upwards, because when you witness over here, right, sometimes it go 5.2, 5.175 and such. This is giving me a good sign where the liquid AIO is running good. As in, like, it does provide tons of cooling so that your system, right, can pull and to push the clock speed. Now, besides this, right, I do take into consideration of the power consumption. I've set it to 192, but it's hovering around this. Meaning to say, that is the max that what the system can push. So at the record of 187, 188, right, is alright. Then when you come to the temperature of the rest of the component, as you can see, the motherboard, which is hovering around 37.5 degrees Celsius, is doing good. It doesn't go 50. Same goes to the chipset, which is the B650 chipset. It's not going above 50 degrees Celsius, which is good. Then followed by the temperature on your RAMs, which is the B2 and B2 and A2 slot. See, it's consistent. So this tells me that, the system is actually doing fine. Nothing goes beyond 55 degrees Celsius and able to sustain at this clock speed. I forgot to mention on my M.2, see, it doesn't go above it. It's 39 degrees Celsius, which is good. And it's very consistent. And looking at the max clock speed on individual core, right, it's pulling well. And it's able to boost, see, amazingly, sometimes it will boost up to 5.75. So this indication has let me know that this liquid AIO does perform pretty well. Alright everyone, now to verify myself, as some of you have questioned me this question, clear every benchmark on the liquid AIO, right? You say that you have done 3 sets, and each set consists of 30 minutes stress test, 5 minutes idle, and the last 10 minutes I will do the recording, and I'll do this as one set, and I've done 3 sets with dismounting and remounting the unit. And you've been wondering and scratching your mind, well, you guys are very sharp, saying that, hey look, this is with a pre-paste. How do you actually replicate having the pre-paste? The answer is, I can't. But through years of experience and practice, right, I would say that, okay, this might be a joke to you guys, but I would say that I'm god tier on applying thermal paste. Reason being, right, as you can see on my top left, okay, there is a illustration on how I do my thermal paste. Because the trick is, having the cold plate touching the IHS, right, it doesn't mean that you apply a lot of thermal paste, which is the wrong concept. You should allow the metal contact of the cold plate and your IHS, the processor, to touch very closely, and you only need a thin layer of thermal paste, and this thin layer will fill up all the micro holes on your processor, the metal surface, and your cold plate. And if you were to watch, right, as I talk, right, you can watch at my top left hand corner. That is how I paste it. It's going to be a very fine thin layer, okay, and it's going to be square. So everywhere that I should say the whole surface area, right, will be covered when I mount the block to it. And also, I'm so used to doing a balanced pressure based on the experience. Okay, it's always about, I would say, nearing to the pre-paste about 0.5%, or even better, around 1% better. So that's the reason why I can do benchmark like this, is through practice and such. For me, it's just plug and play. It's that easy. I don't have to redo and redo and redo, because I'm so used to test on liquid AIO. And you might be saying, okay, Cleo, fair enough, you can do a good paste, but what about the thermal paste? This liquid AIO and some of the liquid AIO that I have tested, right, doesn't come with a thermal paste. Of course, in general, I will definitely seek those who actually provide me, like this ASUS, right, they have provided me with this liquid AIO. I will ask for the thermal paste. And throughout all their generation 8, A-Stack generation 8 pump, right, be it the Ryujin 3, the Ryujin 3 Extreme, another LC360 Prime, and this is using the same thermal paste. Okay, that's the reason why I got this from A-Stack, from ASUS. They have provided me with this place. This is actually a sample of what they have done in the factory for this kind of liquid AIO. And they did sell this, they do sell this thermal paste known as the ROG RG07 thermal paste. So, mystery solved. That's the reason why I can, I would say, I have a very confirmation way to express the results and to do my findings. So, slightly different, because I myself, I'm also a PC builder. I hate, okay, to be honest with you, to be frank, I know I'm going to offend quite a number of reviewers out there, but it's just that it doesn't make sense to me where you show the product, you don't show the stats, you don't show how you do it, yet you just give a graph saying that, oh, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. And based on the fact that everyone will sink into it as a night, having to know that, oh, these are the stats and such. But in hot and humid country, right, the reason why I do so much liquid AIO testing is based on this fact that I am in a hot and humid region. Where else AIO test that is overseas, right, I can't trust them. They have very good thermal results, but end up, if I were to take the liquid AIO and to test in my country, right, some of them, it went reverse. Instead of having good thermal results, I'm having bad thermal results. Based on the fact that my atmosphere that you hear, that you see, right, it's, hot, warm air. It's not cold air. Okay, I'm not going to talk much about it. This is just something personal that I wanted to let everyone know. And I do apologize to ASUS that I took this time to talk about my personal experience and such. So this is the way that I do reviews. Okay, in fact, it's more on like sharing my experience and my interests. Now, speaking of which, right, this, whatever underneath here, right, is in fact the pre-paste. Okay, before I conduct the second and third, which is on my own application. But rest assured, the okay, if you guys want to see that, right, in future, right, probably you can write in the comments telling me that, hey Q, please show your thermal paste result, the two thermal paste result, as in the two sets compared to the pre-paste. I can do that. All right, do let me know. Now, just to show you that underneath here is the pre-paste, I'm just going to, you know, remove this block over here. Oops. And to show you what's beneath and how it's being spread. All right, a trick to unscrew all this bolts over here, right? Still hold on to the block. Do not just unscrew freely like this. Reason being, right, you want to retain the cold plate underneath without any scratches. So this is the best way to do it. All right, it's just like how you apply the mounting. Do it alternately to remove all the tension, so that when you pick this up, right, you won't scratch. I mean, you won't scratch the surface. So next time when you apply the cold plate to another processor or another new build, right, if you want to reuse the liquid AIO, right, you will have a very good, nice cold plate surface. Okay, let me just remove all this. So as mentioned to you, I'm actually very experienced on how I do the cold plate and such. And there are some other reviewers, things like, you know, they didn't yield good results based on the fact that the cold plate is not having even pressure. And normally they will hold by the tube and to mount the thing, which is wrong. Or when they have mounted this and they have screw it right, they just let go on the block, which is wrong too. You will need to have a firm, you know, pressure to fix your block onto it. Okay, right now I'm just going to remove. See, this is the spread, all spread out nicely. That's the reason why it's achieving very good results. Now, as mentioned to you, right, if I were to wipe this, take a look, you ain't gonna have any scratches at all. Guarantee plus chop. So sorry, this is actually a Singlish word. Alright, okay, let me just, you know, remove off the thermal paste. See? You won't have any scratches. For sure, 100% when I do all the liquid AIO or the, okay, not air cooler, but liquid AIO, right, I always do it this way. Because if you have the mounting and you do unscrew without holding the block, right, this will shake about and will cause, if you were to release as in like one side, then followed by the next side, followed by the next side, without doing it alternately, right, you will form, okay, my hands is with thermal paste. I wouldn't want to, you know, affect the block, as I will need to return this unit. Okay, with this say, right, with balance application and balance removal, right, your cold plate will be very nice, no scratches at all. Some of you have actually experienced that, you know, with scratches and such. Why is it so? Because you have just removed without holding the cold plate, I mean the block, when you're removing it. So if you do it this way, right, forever your block, or should I say the cold plate, will be without scratches. Before I share with you my thoughts regarding about this liquid AIO coming from ASUS, known as the Prime LC360 ARGB LCD. Now earlier on I've done a lot of rant regarding about verification, and I do apologize, it's not verification, it's to clarify myself. Well, job nature, I need to verify a lot of stuff, that's the reason why, so I do apologize. Now, as mentioned to you, I've done 2 applications on this, as in like dismount and to mount it. And at the previous section, right, I mentioned to you the pre-paste when I show you the cold plate is without scratches. And this is after 2 applications, as in like dismount and to mount it back, just to compare if there's any human error on the mounting itself. But I still get a consistent temperature, which difference about 1 to 2 degrees Celsius different. And the result that you see, right, in fact, is based on the fact that it's my own application, which is 1 degree lower, which is 83. With the pre-paste is 84, right? So that is the reason why I took mine, which is the best. Now, as I mentioned to you, I've applied 2 times, dismounting and mounting it. Look at the cold plate. No scratch, no nothing. And for some reason, right, be it that I'm very careful on how the mounting is and to dismount it, I've tested numerous of liquid AIO. The cold plate do have some slight scratches or light scratches, but for all the ASUS tag, or should I say all the ASUS liquid AIO, right, be it this, the 2 primes that I've tested, the Ryujin 3 and the Ryujin 3 Extreme, and also the ProArt LC360 and the LC420, all the cold plate I have witnessed myself, it doesn't scratch. I'm not too sure what kind of material they have used. I made inquiry with ASUS tech support, else I haven't got the answer, but I can say that the material that they use, right, are solid. This copper here, right, in fact, you should know that copper is easily scratched or dent based on the fact that the material is very soft. But this, right, as you can see, right, for copper surface, right, it's kind of like down, but this is shining. I suspect that this is a mixture of material that strengthen the cold plate. That's why when I dismount it, right, see, 2 application without any scratches. So when I want to reuse this, right, I can be very, I should say, confident to mount this on another unit, whereby, you know, no compromises based on the scratches when I apply this block. Now, this is one of the good points about this liquid AIO. The next point is that fantastic accessory, very minimal. Everything is just plug and play. For some liquid AIO, right, especially the back plate, I have to plug the back plate for the Intel and to screw the send-offs. Else, this comes with it. It's so handy. I don't have to worry about, you know, having the tight corner to screw the stand-offs. These are all protruding out. All is needed, plug this back plate, you know, then clean your processor, plug the pump in, place the retention spring, and to fasten it. It's that simple. Same goes to your Intel, AMD. AMD is even better, it's right at the front. So again, plug this in, plug the block, place the retention spring, and to fasten with the bolt. It's that simple. Another good point about this liquid AIO, the cabling is very simple. You only need to feeder with 4 cables, that's all. Starting from the pump, as mentioned, your pump connector, the Type-C connector to control the LCD. Now, speaking of which, the LCD display, right, which is captured on my camera, it doesn't justify. In fact, it's very bright. And when you mount this in the case, right, with all the small wordings, right, you can see it very prominently without having to, you know, go close to it. You can just look at it from far, which is very vibrant in color. Nice. Now, back to where I was. 2 cables over here and 2 cables from the radiator fan, the ARGB and the PWM fan connector. And also the daisy chain, right, as you can see, I don't have to feeder with cable mesh. Either of the sides is without cables. Clean. So this makes fitting, right, easy. And also the wordings on the radiator is very subtle. Nice touch. Same goes to the other side. And what I like about this liquid AIO, right, some might not like it, but I like the roundings over here. Okay, it might look very dated, but with this roundings, right, it's easier to fit at the top of the case if it is, you know, very compact. Nicely done. And majority of the radiator, right, is around 397 or 397 or 400 in length, but this is only at 394. So that much of a millimeter, right, it does solve a lot of problems, especially tight corners. Now, on the fan itself, as I mentioned, no cables, no nothing, based on the fact that fantastic mounting mechanism, where I show you that you can detach it. And best part, the blades itself, right, that they have designed over here, right, yes, it does make noise, but it doesn't give you a large pitch sound or huge pitch sound. Instead, it gives you a hum as you listen. But only thing is that I hope that there are some QC check regarding on how they stick the crest on the blade. As you can see, right, if it's aligned properly, right, yeah, not a problem. But if you see this, see, it wobbles. So this make the experience not really that great. Okay, this is very minor. So probably need some realignment and make sure that, you know, it's dead center. Else, if these are spinning, right, see, it's gonna be like very ugly. This is what I feel. Now, besides this, right, the LCD display on the panel itself, as I mentioned, is very bright and vibrant. The only thing is that I hope that this is customizable. As in, like, the readings, you want to read the liquid pressure, etc. I mean the liquid temperature and such, and to rearrange the readings, or to even embed certain image that you wanted. So this is one of the downside of the pump itself. Other than that, it's well made, well constructed. Well constructed, well done. Alright, and thanks to ASUS to have provided this paste for me. It's a consistent paste of what this pre-paste is been using. That's why I'm able to yield good results based on the fact that what you have seen, right? Now, something I like to talk about the thermal results. Now, for this liquid AIO, yes, it does perform at a temperature max of 83 degrees Celsius. By the way, that temperature is taken from my pre-paste. From my application of the thermal paste, not the pre-paste. The pre-paste, in fact, hit 84 degrees Celsius. Else, my second application on the, my own paste, right? My own application is at 83 degrees Celsius. The other one is at 84 degrees Celsius. So I took the 84 degrees Celsius. As mentioned to you, I'm almost 0.5 to 0.1 degree difference from the pre-paste. So there you have it. It does perform well. And I would say that if you want to purchase this unit, right, based on the fact that you just want simple display, this is a very good purchase. But there will be a cheaper version, as in like the LC Prime, that does perform even better. In fact, that temperature that I've got, right, is 81 degrees Celsius, okay, which is the Prime LC360 ARGB without the LCD. Why is this so? Based on the fact that the panel over here, right, on the other unit is only ARGB. Else for this, right, is LCD. For LCD, right, it produces much more heat. So I guess that's the reason why it's affecting the thermal by just 1 degree Celsius. But overall, both unit is good enough to purchase. It's just that the choice of preference, whether you want an LCD panel or you just want a fixed Prime logo on it. With this said, I'd like to thank ASUS Singapore to have provided this unit for me to share with everyone. And if you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. If you like my content, do remember to subscribe and to click on the notification bell button. Till then, take care, goodbye, see ya.